Hey ho, good neighbors, what's going on? It's Phil Russert. I am the host tonight and publisher from Philbo Publishing, and we have a live launch going to go on tonight, and we got a good group of guests here. We've got the creator of the book we're going to discuss tonight, as well as a bunch of other really cool people. The first thing I'm going to say is that new music on StreamYard is too relaxing. It made me want to go to sleep, not hype me up for a live, so forgive us. That's not me, that's StreamYard. And then, for whatever reason, it doesn't segue to each video cleanly, so forgive me. Anyway. I'm going to get everybody on board, and we're going to start talking about this book, and we're going to get hyped up. We want you and need you to support and pledge right away. Let's get out of that gate strong, because Ray has 15 illegitimate kids to feed, and we need money. All right? So let's get this going. We'll start with introducing the creator and writer of the Madcaps, Ray Jameson.
Hello, hello. Good to be on.
Our friendly man to the north. Nice, soft-spoken gentleman.
Should I have a deeper, raspier voice? Would that work?
That actually sounds like a 900 number, so no, let's not do that.
I was trying to do Barry White, but there's not.
No,
I guess
it was more like Barry Beige. That wasn't Barry White.
I love it. I love it. Heidi ho, little Russert.
Yeah, it's Little Bear. All right, next we have the interior artist extraordinaire, phenomenal artist. If you don't know him, if you're not following him, you're not paying attention. You really should start. Vic Medina.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Magic.
And we have professional voice actor and among other things, as well as the host of the D&D game, which will be a tier on the campaign, Michael Towsey.
What's up, everybody? Hello, hello.
He's right now in a rainforest, so he travels a lot. And then, I don't know who let this dude in. I didn't know he was coming, but he's one of the cover artists, actually a good friend of mine, an artist I used to represent before I had to move to other endeavors. Had nothing to do with him. And he does a lot of covers for me. And he did the interiors on my manga book, the extraordinarily talented, the unprecedented, amazing man from Florida, Kenny Calderon. Shazam!
Right on.
How's it going, everyone?
Pretty good.
Good.
All right, so yes, let's get this party started. First of all, thanks for all coming out. I appreciate you. We are going to launch the campaign live this evening. But first, we're going to get a little insight into Ray and the creation of this book. And then we're going to go around and talk to the different guests about their roles that they're playing in this and the parts that they've played and how they've contributed. And then we will, during the course of this time, we will launch this campaign. And you will flood it with money because, like I said, Ray has way too many illegitimate kids to feed. And, man, that alimony, and not the alimony, that child support is badass. All right. So, Ray, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you came up with the concept and what Madcaps is about.
Okay, so the Madcaps is a story that actually started the better part of 15 years ago. So a long while back, many moons ago, I had to move across country up here in Canada, and I left family and friends, and I always look for excuses to hang out with friends via webcam. So I never played D&D before, so I proposed this to a group of friends, and they all said, sure. I had to be the dungeon master, and I didn't bite off more than I could chew, but I bit off a lot. I didn't use any modules. Everything was homebrew, the history, the lore, all the cities, everything. And I used that world in many different campaigns. I even have one that's been going on for 2 years now, about pirates chasing people on an island they can't get off of. And after a while, I just wanted to express some of these stories. So I looked at the original campaign, and I took that story. I took out all the players that my friends were playing as, and I injected my own characters that I made up myself, ironically based off of people who I knew. And,
well, they say right from what you know, right?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the best compliments I've had about character development is they're all unique from each other. It's understandable how they get along, and it's understandable that they're friends, not just how they get along, but how they synergize. That's what it's right now. Shout out to you, Bryce Kowalski. Now, the main theme about this story, it's just a 3-issue miniseries. The whole thing takes place over one night. And I've said this on other podcasts, but I'm going to say it again here because it rings very true. Every human being, when they get old enough, there is a certain point in time where they don't get to see friends as much as they want to. That could be like me moving, or jobs, or family, kids, you name it. And every human being, their inner child actually feels recharged when you can see those friends, even if it's for just a sliver of time in a parking lot, at a coffee shop, you name it. So this book, if anybody has friends that they don't get to see enough, this book is an homage to that level of camaraderie. The very first issue, which you will be able to get in this this Kickstarter, a catch-up tier, you can get the first issue. The two of the main characters are just coming into their hometown to meet up with 2 other friends, and they go on a tangent they didn't intend to, but essentially you can really feel that level of camaraderie that I was talking about. So
but there are no tangents in the book because Vic is an awesome artist. But go ahead.
Vic did a great job. Kenny as well. They definitely brought their A game, and I'm ever so grateful to have their talent attached to this project.
Speaking of cover artists, by the way.
Yes, Rod Ramos Rodolfo.
If you actually look directly behind Vic, if you tilt your head to the side, you'll see Rod's cover.
Yeah, there it is there. Yes, sir.
Very cool.
Yes. And also, basically this story it's almost like an adult version of Scooby-Doo minus the dog. And basically these friends, just when they get back together, there's this undead outbreak. They help the guards stave it off so it doesn't spread, but one of them is inclined to believe it has something to do with a local drug problem. And the story goes from there. This issue, you know what? Maybe I'll explain issue 2 a little bit more after we look at the trailer.
Yeah, when we go to the campaign, we can do that.
All in all, from Micah Myers lettering to Dan Kemp coloring to the people you see before me here on the screen and all the other various pieces of talent attached to it, these guys brought their A game. This is my first time writing, being on the creative side of a comic book. And as I've said in other podcasts, it's up to the readers to decide if I'm a good reader or not. I'm not one of those arrogant guys that says I'm a big deal. If you don't believe me, ask me, I'll tell you. I'm not one of those kind of guys. But one thing I know for sure is although I can't control my talent level, I can control who is attached to it. So I tried to get some of the talent you see here on screen and many others, they were selected by me. So I feel they're bringing something that when we combine our efforts, it's something worthy of the comic industry. And that has been my goal this whole time.
Very cool. Yeah, I have to tell everybody I'm a fan of D&D, but what really drew me to the book is it's the D&D setting. It still has those D&D tropes and the things that you enjoy from that fantasy world and that genre. But Ray also does things that are a little different, that aren't just the commonplace. It's not the typical D&D story, but it's not so atypical that it doesn't feel like a D&D story. So I thought it was well written and well illustrated, and the characters are interesting, and they all have their own tonal voice. So I'm excited for this launch too. I'm going to launch in a minute, but I want to get to Michael Towsey because Michael is it's a really rare tier, which is really cool. Like when you have a campaign that has something new and fresh and exciting. So Michael, tell us about yourself, and then let's discuss your part in this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Phil, Ray. It's a pleasure. It's always awesome. Thanks for letting me do a bit of a voice for your trailer too. That was super fun. I hope you enjoyed. You enjoyed what I gave. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm DM Towsey. I'm a professional dungeon master. I run D&D probably at this point 6 out of 7 days out of the week. So it's a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. I started going professional about almost 4 years now. And I've been a dungeon master for about 30 years. So I've been doing it pretty much my entire life. And, I caught the bug when I was like 11, 12 years old. I just couldn't stop. And it was I started playing PFRPG, Palladium fantasy role playing game, which is a terrible system, but an awesome world. Like Kevin Sambata created amazing worlds, just awful mechanics. So then, I just found my way back to D&D, as so many of us have, and it's always been I've always like created maps as a kid. I've always been creating these worlds. I think I was first inspired by Legend of Zelda, when you had all those like brick worlds, and so I created these gigantic maps, and now that's what I do for a living. It's kind of wild.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I had Ray and some of his comic book friends on to play a one shot of, I believe they played Deep Dive, which is an underwater one shot. It's a little different.
Yeah, that was for issue 1's campaign. Yeah. That was a good one.
We were leaving at that time, yeah.
They fought against a lot of they fought against a lot of one of my favorite villainous races in D&D, which is the Kuatoa, who, like, their crazy thing is that whatever they imagine to be real, it becomes real. So they, like, whatever religious fantasies they have, they somehow materialize in the real world, which is just too good. So I had to make a one shot about that. But I've got all these other one shots. So if you're interested in playing and you've never played D&D before, sign up for the tier. I'll be your DM. Let's play. Let's do this.
I mean, honestly, it's an interactive tier, guys. You, especially if you love D&D, just get in and you get into a great group, and you never know what it leads to. If you're isolated in a small town and you don't have a D&D group to come get together, this is a great way to start up a group, be involved in something in a community on a weekly or monthly basis. And if you're new to it, don't be intimidated or shy. These are great guys. They can ease you in and help you out. And it's great when you have a professional DM, because people don't understand how much there's acting involved, and there's like portrayals of characters and getting you submersed into the adventure. So this is a great tier that everybody should check out and try for sure. Real quick, I just want to say hello. The Kemp duo is here, famous colorists from the industry. Hello. Thanks for coming on. Hello. It's like Wonder Twin powers activate, and these guys just put out colors all over the place. It's wonderful.
Oh, it's like that on steroids, man.
Form of colors.
These guys go down like Greeks holding dishes, man. They don't mess around.
No, they don't. Well, they're both pros. They've worked with Image, with major names and other companies, and they're also all over the indie scene because they do not discriminate, which we love them for.
Yeah.
But
you guys do your thing, we just help out. So we just make stuff look pro. And now the indies are the top selling stuff. So,
well, I mean, there's no doubt you
ask questions, for God's sake.
Well, there's no doubt that you guys you guys always get work. So
yeah, I mean, that's a mention. So the book looks good. Working with Victor, so his work's great. So have you shared the new pages?
We're
with
about
everybody,
to.
Or are you guys sharing them during the cast?
We're about to.
I'm actually going to launch it now, and then we can show off the covers, the interiors, and talk to everybody about what's going on. Michael is going to be departing with us in a little bit. He can stay a little while, but he's got to get. So we wanted to talk with him and get that going. But Michael does voiceover, which you're going to hear in the trailer. So he's a man of many talents, and which correlates obviously, because again, if you're a DM and you really know how to get into character, then it makes sense that you're able to do that as a voice actor. It's just awesome. So we're going to launch this bad boy live right now. Why did this? Oh, that's why. All right, there we go. Here we go. Let's launch it. And you're all going to come out and pledge because, like I said, 15 illegitimate children that DM Ray has to feed. Child support is expensive. Let's go.
They all have the same name, too.
Yeah, like George Foreman. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And we are live.
Let's
Look
do
at
this.
that. So I'm going to play the trailer, and you can point out Michael's voice part. and I'm going to play the trailer.
After Chasgo and myself received a surprise visit from Dunnan and Madcaps, we were able to help the local guards stave off the beginnings of an undead outbreak. I recognise one of the fallen creatures to be an addict to the local drug, Weave. After following a lead, the four of us were able to track down a group of bandits transporting the drug. Fortunately, we were able to control the situation, and Dunnan has a gift with aligning perspectives.
Here's
You
Michael
get to
here.
choose which of my friends here you are going to speak to. If not, I'll pick for you.
We had no idea that this was the beginning of a very long night.
Now, you can always tell what you're getting into when someone gives you such a professional trailer. You know damn well the book is going to be professional. And then you look at the cast of creators on this team. You've got professionals that work with Todd McFarlane, for crying out loud, and McFarlane and DC Comics, etc. So, you know, and you can see what Vic can do. My God. So, I mean, that alone should sell the book, but we are going to help sell it as well. So here we go. So this is just a little preview of the cover by Rod Rodolfo, who's in the chat, and we've got Jay Sloan did these, right? The
concept art
character
was
bios?
done by Jay Sloan, yes.
Okay, very good. So you get a little look into the characters on the campaign. You're welcome to look at the bios.
He's got another
And then, of course, there's the little synopsis. Here's the first main cover by who's this dude again? What's his name? It's oh geez, Kevin. No shit. Kenny. That is. That's it. Kenny. Kenny Calderon.
Yep.
So tell us about it, Kenny. What were your thoughts? You know, when you came up to, you know, did you guys discuss like you want to do a team roster, you know, as the concept, or did you bounce back and forth with each other? Is Ray a slave driver and said I want it this way and that's it?
Nah, Ray gave me like everything that I would need in order to compose a really engaging cover, right? He was very specific with, you know, showcasing the group. I wanted some extra detail as to what this issue 1 would lead into for issue 2, so that it feels like a transition, right? Like a transitional piece. And you know, I wanted to give Mr. Kemp enough to work with so that he can work his magic.
Yeah, and how does it feel when you're laying down lines and you're doing your inking and everything, and then you see a professional colorist like this, you know, putting colors on your work? I mean, isn't it amazing when you see that?
Oh yeah, it's like being a part of Voltron.
Which lion are you?
Yeah.
I'm the Dragon's Guard. Wait, that's
Yeah.
a different franchise. My bad.
But no, it was a lot of fun to work on. I don't get many opportunities to work on fantasy, like high fantasy work, so this was refreshing.
Very cool. And I want to remind everybody, this is, I mean, it deals with zombies and stuff, but it's pretty much all ages. There's no profanity or any, you know, over the top gore or violence. It's pretty much cartoon, you know, comic violence. So it's pretty on the level for people, you know, for people of all ages. I'm not saying read it to your 4-year-old, but you know, you got an 8-year-old, 12-year-old kid, they'll be fine.
One thing I definitely wanted to have with every cover, I wanted the covers to have a very intimate relationship with the story inside. There's lots of people that they'll have like covers galore and they'll go wild, like have completely outside of context of the story. All the power to the people that do that. I wanted every cover to just have something reflecting. So in this case, this picture here, they're about to walk into a path that has a lot of overgrowth. And it's actually, not to give too much away, but they're about to walk onto the territory of the HQ of a distributor of this fictional drug, Weave. So you can see they have mildly different facial expressions because they're all their own person. You can see, you get the feeling of not urgency. I don't want to use the word sober per se, but it is a serious moment. And I mean, between Kenny and Dan, they like definitely, as depicted like Ultron, they really put their efforts together, and I definitely got that feel out of them. They did a great job.
You know what I love most about this piece with Dan is what he did with I forget the elf's character's name.
Chazgo.
You know, because to go from dark to darker, you know, I mean, to be able to be able to do the shading and the shadowing and not drown anything out and not drown out the lines, but accentuate the lines.
Yes.
That I really like that. I mean, beautiful work. Obviously, he's a professional. So
the one thing I
fantastic.
like with Dan and Dave, especially with Chazgo, because you brought him up, they weren't afraid to use lighter colors when necessary. It's very obvious, like you say, dark to darker, but there's like almost white in there as well, but it fits. It doesn't. There was no, for what the color palette is on Chazgo. It would be understandable if one was like colored into a metaphorical corner, but these guys just make it look effortless.
And that's the point when you're a professional. I mean, you tell us as a colorist, you know, understanding light sources and how facial features even will distort light off a face. You know, I mean, there's a lot into that. It's not just slapping on a color. There's shading, there's rendering, there's gradients.
Yeah, let Dave will explain.
Oh God, that's a big.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? It's like this. It's like anything in like you can color anything light, you can color anything dark, and still give it a mood. The thing is, it's like at our level of coloring, and it's like with art, it's how many pieces have you done, and so it's like, so at our level of coloring, you know, we look as to how to work with the piece, and so it's like, hey, let Dave explain.
Well, we'll do a lot with values, even concentrate on color so much a lot of the time. It's just how do we model this thing to make it look three-dimensional. So that's, we can get away with a lot of that stuff with backlighting or whatever it may be type thing. So
yeah, so values are to light to dark, and so it's like in coloring, that's the real trick, is that a lot of people, you know, think it's just color. Actually, the first thing that you'll notice is how light and how dark colors are, and that's actually like
that's how you draw the eye.
Yeah, and that's actually, so it's as Dave said. He said you can, there are colorists that color with just using color and giving a mood, or there's rendering people, you know, that actually take it and make it a three-dimensional thing. But as Dave said, we color with light as the source. So everything is like, how light is this? Where's the light source? Like, and so everything is light and dark before it's color. And so then the color gets added to it, and hopefully the color is really beautiful combinations.
And we'll go on all night, so interrupt us.
Yeah, exactly. So it can be.
Well, you know what's funny, so and it's a simple concept too, that someone had said to me. Chris Sotomayor is a friend of mine. He's another professional colorist in the industry, and he said a lot of inspired colorists, new guys, they want to do these bombastic backgrounds and this and that and flash, but the problem is you're taking the eye away from what you want the eye to look at. So while you have to do all that rendering and all that, you have to remember too, what is the focus of this piece? And you have to make sure that your coloring keeps the eye where it's supposed to be, right? So there's so much to it. Like if you look at this piece,
advanced colorist.
Well, you know what, and to keep this in mind, right? The more you can get super artistic and go, oh, I want to pop out this bit and pop out this bit, but the top selling movie is still going to be Toy Story, which means that you're reaching the widest audience, coming from the widest audience, coming from their shoes. So you always want to do stuff that's you want to take a simple approach, and then so it's like have one focus on the panel, you know, and use values to do that. And that's what makes it rendering. If it was just color choices, we could go back to flat color.
Well, that's why it makes it readable as well. I mean, you open up a page and some pages just, you can't read it. You just, but then some pages where you go, okay, wow, this is really easy to go through.
And
That's
Right.
kind of the goal.
It should read like Toy Story. It should be simple. I mean, for God's sakes, you should know the lightest point is where the kids are going to look, or all the fans are going to look. You know what I mean? And that's how we try and treat stuff. But it's an advanced lesson, so it's a fun topic, and we've got a million. But so okay, keep moving, Phil, with this.
The other thing I like real quick is, there's multiple light sources. You have the moon behind them, the stars, and then you have his hand glowing. And, some people may not pay attention to that. Just the light from his hand, the magic alone, how it casts shadow on the left leg of him, and brightens the right. So
Yeah.
I find it fascinating. And being that I'm partially colorblind, I know a really amazing colorist when I see color. So I'm a good litmus test for people because I'm blind as a bat with colors.
That sounds like a Chuck Norris
And
line. Chuck Norris colors
I
so
use
well.
a lot of oh, here's Dave. Okay. Dave can explain this if you guys have questions. Dave colored this piece.
I'll give an intro on the cover first. So this was colored by Jay Sloan, who did the concept art as well. I liked his art so well, I needed a cover from him. So the relevance of this cover is this pet of Chazgo's. Its name is MX. It's a three-eyed albino raven. And Chazgo is... he's a very reserved individual because his kind are killed on sight. He uses magic to hide himself as a human, as he represents a noble, playing a very dangerous game there. And here you see him milling about his thoughts. If you took his pet MX out of that picture, you don't know if he's lonely or he's just thinking, heck, on smoke break in the middle of day shift or something like that. But when you have MX there, it really gives he's by himself. It feels like he's planning or something to that effect. This was colored by Dave, and as I was saying earlier, I didn't give Dave many options in regards to color. And with that said, the piece speaks for itself. It stands out where it needs to stand out. It holds back where it needs to hold back, all within the color of what appears to be, I'll say, just a pinch of colors in different types.
And just look at the texturing on the brick.
Yes.
That's a skill in its own right. But do you guys ever get competitive with each other, being that you're both in the same field?
No,
not competitive. We won't listen to each other's suggestions, but
no, I do. No, you know what? It's like, yeah, Dave's going to do his thing. You know what I mean? And I'm going to do my thing. And it's like, and hopefully it comes out. Well, they always come out really well. So that's how it is. That's kind of how we think about it. And it's always,
Got your back,
I don't know.
right?
Dave's always going to do something different. It's just,
I saw the piece and I was like, that'll be a cool one. I liked what Jay did with it. And I like doing dark pieces because you can really the focal point is, I'm all about focal point. So with dark pieces, you can do light and then all this dark around it, and it really just pops out type thing. And I knew that's what I could do with this piece. So I was like, all right, cool, let's do it.
And Jay Sloan couldn't be with us tonight, but he's definitely a very talented artist. He did the cover to my omnibus, and he's a beast in his own right. So hats off to Jay. And we are going to move down to cover the third cover.
So this is done by Russ Leach out in the UK.
Another good guy.
One of the coolest things about this with Donanini, as mentioned by the Kemp brothers here, when to have light be the expression and when to have the others held in the back. So it's very obvious that all of these undead creatures, the light or the color rather is downplayed, and then done, and especially with that telescope of his going off. That telescope basically, he has some odd, unorthodox, arcane influence on metals and crystalline structures. So he's able to rig this telescope to blast raw arcana out of it. So you can see it's knocking that arm off, which is cutting off the logo a little bit in the forefront. It's such a statement there that most people don't realize that his hammer is actually separating a jaw off of a zombie in the bottom right quadrant.
Yeah.
But again, the choice of what to make stand out and what to downplay. The level of intelligence in that's a skill on its own. And again, the piece speaks for itself. Like it.
And you're not even going to talk about that lens flare that he's got going on there. That's freaking brilliant.
Yes, we actually,
good,
when we were
man.
talking about this, when we were talking about the lens flare,
that was three
actually,
lens flares, guys.
yeah, it's got three instead of four, but it's magic, so it makes sense in my mind. So,
hey, Phil,
Yeah.
so check this out. So I was working with Brian Haberlin, and he's like, most people don't know that there's only one lens flare that can occur on a piece. And we start laughing and we're picking up these comics and we're like, oh my God, they think that you can have 5 lens flares appear on a piece. So anywho, yeah, so okay, anywho, back to Dave. Okay.
Well, he's a writer. We got to give him a break.
yeah, this one here, because it's magic, I mean, if we'll put in 90 lens flares, but either way, like you said, the lens flare just makes it pop.
It's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Everything revolves around that lovely telescope. He nicknamed it Spud. You don't really see that in the comics yet, but there's a story behind that. But it syncs with his goggles. In order for that thing to function, he needs his goggles on his face. And as I was saying before, like everything around him is involved, but held back at the same time. Sure. And that's a combination of Russ making all the eye draw towards the center, and then Dave coloring accordingly to amplify that even more. It's pretty
I just want to give a shout out. Russ Leach is doing the Atlantean with Randy Zimmerman right now. And that's if you love Conan, Cull, all that stuff. It's Cull, by the way, but if you love that kind of barbarian sword sorcery, go check them out as well. Back both campaigns. If you love this genre, you will not be disappointed in either one. So go check that out.
Yes.
And then we have Rod's cover, and Rod is in the chat still, hopefully.
Yes, Rod Ramos Rodolfo. He drew Madrakis. Here we have Madrakis pulling some earth upward. You get to see in the first issue a little bit. He does have some arcane abilities, but he would be an amateur at best. Despite him being over 6.5 feet tall and clearing 350 pounds in body weight, the most intimidating thing about him is his brain. And one thing I think is very important for me writing this story is to break the trope of, if you're talk about his books, you can tell he knows his craft. Well, thank you kindly.
Mike, he fooled you. I was kidding.
But yeah, Rod's still here. But anyways, with Madrakis, he's a larger fella, and in a lot of stories, there's always the trope: the big guy's good for nothing more than like a meat shield, and he's stupid and oafish. And I wanted to kind of do something different, just because he's big. In fact, I'm sure there's a lot of large individuals that I see this person. Well, they're obviously stupid because they're strong, kind of thing. And
I get it all the time.
but in this case, I wanted him to have a level of deception to him. So in the first issue, one of the coolest things he does in it that a lot of people talk a lot about is when he an undead creature jumps out from a door after the door's opened up, and Madrakis here, he actually catches the creature by the throat and then sets its head on fire and tosses it to the side and says there's less mess this way, as opposed to him like hacking it to pieces with blood going all over. But other than that, you don't get to see much magic from him. He does have this inherent ability where he can store lightning in his gizzard and vomit it out, but that's not really a magical gift. That's just part of his anatomy.
That's just indigestion.
Yeah, exactly.
He needs a little Mylanta or something.
In this case, you'll actually see this in the comic where he actually is able to influence the ground, basically earth, minerals, that kind of thing. You'll actually see this in the comic in some form. I gave the script to that scene to Rod, and this was his expression afterwards. So, and again, I know I've already said this with the other covers. In this case, Dan Kemp coloring it. They both their talents work, man. They combined. It's you're getting that Voltron force. You're getting that combination. I just want to say Megazord. I'm sorry. I'm doing Canadian and apologize, but I'll stick with Ultron.
Voltron.
Ultron. See what we did here?
Damn Canadian.
Combining different
Freaking
franchises.
Canadians. You don't know your geek lore.
The age
Anyway.
of Ultron. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
No, it's Voltron. Ray, get with the boat.
Really? And I do want to say this.
Man.
Yeah.
I just want to watch Spectre-Man and Godzilla beat up monsters again. That's all I want to see.
I will say this though.
No.
Rod Rodolfo is an amazing artist to work with. He's a professional who's worked with Dynamite Comics. He's worked with Devil's Due. He's worked on G.I. Joe. He did the Grimm TV show adaptation. He worked on Battlestar Galactica. Rod, I used to rep Rod as well before I decided to move on to other endeavors. Rod is amazing to work with, no ego. He's lightning quick, but the level of work is so professional. If anybody's read my horror magazine, he does a story in there. Go check him out and hire him. Same with Kenny. Great guys, professional. You really should seek them out if you want professional quality work. And again, most importantly, they meet the deadlines and no egos. If you have edits, they'll take them like professionals.
Also, I did forget this. Go ahead.
Ray, I'm so sorry I had to interrupt. I do have to run at this point, but I just blasted you on my Discord channel, so that's up a good 100 people are going to go look at your stuff. So
thanks for coming out, man. We appreciate you. Great work on the voice acting, and we look forward to people getting to play D&D with you on the tier.
Hey, it'd be awesome.
Tell us where we can find you.
Oh, you can find me on Discord at DMTauzy, DMTAUZY. Find me on Discord. Or you can find me on Roll20. Just look me up, DMTauzy, or find me on Start Playing. And let's play some D&D.
Fantastic. And are you available for voiceover work?
I am. I'm absolutely available. Let me know.
Very cool. Awesome,
All right,
man.
Ray.
Thank you.
Whatever you need, Ray, I'll be there. Peace out,
Good night. Thanks. See you soon.
Take care. All right. So as the first person that couldn't take Ray any longer. All right.
So one thing I did forget to say is Dave did help with the final titles, so his choice of color. Even just having Madraka's hand in the top of his head in front of the title, that was all with Dave. A couple suggestions for myself, but he made the final product you're seeing here, assembling all of these covers. So really, really nice looking.
Yeah, beautiful work. Again, I mean, when you look at the trailer and you look at the covers alone, you got to know that the quality inside is going to be just as amazing. And we're going to get to Vic in a minute. We got another cover.
So this one was drawn by Jenna Stark out in New York. This was colored by Dave. And one thing I wanted to do with Sarlacc, him grabbing this book is, again, this is something you find in issue 2. And this is one of the critical moments, as I've been showing amongst other covers. One of the coolest things about this one, this one's going to be limited edition. It's going to be metal foil to add to that stained glass effect. And I'm really excited. I think that one's really going to pop when it's done.
Very cool. Yeah, and we'll see when we go through the tiers that you'll see the tier for that.
One of the most interesting things about this cover in regards to the line work is how Jenna decided to use the bloom of the logo as kind of like a light shining behind Sarlacc. And then, of course, with Dave coloring it, between the contrast of the darker blue to the lighter logo, it works. It all just comes together in a really nice end result.
Awesome. And now we get to Mr. Medina. Funky Cole Medina. Here we go. All right. So, as you know, Vic, is the new interior artist on the book. And I have to say, Vic is doing fantastic work. And you in combination with Dan is just phenomenal. Yes. And we have to give Mike a credit too in the lettering. So just all across the board. I mean, look at that moon. Look at it. Just look at it. Anyway, so Vic, you get the call from Ray. He asked if you're available. You're ready to go. How was it interpreting his scripts, and how much was there back and forth? How much freedom did you have to kind of interpret your own camera angles and establish things?
You know what? I had complete freedom. He never gave me like, hey, I really want this here or that. His script was really easy to read, and he gives you exactly what you need for the page. So he keeps it short and sweet, and I was able to see the pages how he wanted it, and it made my job really easy. When you get something like that, as opposed to like other writers who will give you like panel 1 and it's a full page, and I'm like, I can't do that. I don't know what you're asking for. I can't.
Panel 1, there's 5 actions in that one panel.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really easy to do. I think the hardest part for me was usually I color my own work, and then trying to leave room for Dan to do what he does was more challenging thing, because a lot of stuff I'm like, I'll do that with color,
Right.
But early on, anytime I take on a book, I ask who's coloring. And Ray told me, "Oh, Dan Kemp's coloring," and I said, "Oh, Dan, okay, yeah, I know him. He's super cool. Like we've talked in comments and things like that." And then like a couple weeks later, I see a post of his. Oh, here's the Spawn cover that I colored, and then that's when it dawned on me that Dan Kemp was the Dan Kemp that was coloring Spawn.
Oh, that Dan Kemp.
Yeah, I hadn't put the two together at all. I was like, "Oh, he's a cool guy on Facebook." And then he did a post, and I was like, "Oh, shoot, he's the guy that used to do that." And I was like, "All right, well, now I have pressure on me. I have to make it look good."
As an artist, a lot of people, they don't understand the art of sequential storytelling. They don't understand. Everybody looks at line, like the average person looks at line art. Oh, it's pretty. He's a great artist. But you have to have the right camera angle, the right proportions, the right motion. You have to have consistency from panel to panel. You should be able to look at an artist's panels on a page without dialogue and have a pretty good idea of what's going on. And that's a skill in its own right. And that's why there are some artists that they simply just do covers because they're pinup. Sequential is a whole different world.
Yeah,
so, I mean, where did you get your sequential skills from? Where, what was your practice? What have you worked on? How did you get to this level where you can tell these stories?
I've only done portfolios. I've done sequentials before for books that never saw print, or I did a filler here and there, and I never saw it. So this will be my first book of sequentials, just for anybody watching. You want to
No
pick up my first
kidding.
sequentials? Here it is. Yeah.
If you didn't say that, you wouldn't have known.
Yeah, this is it. I always have sequentials for my portfolios, but
so was there pressure in your own mind on you for this? Was there any part of you?
I was pretty relaxed doing it. I mean, I would have thought about it a little longer taking the gig once I found out that they were all different heights. You had a 3 foot and a 4 foot and a 6 foot, and you're like, how do you draw that? And then there's a nice horse chasing in this that I was like, horses. But yeah, I mean, he gave me enough where I could picture it really easy, and I could just run with it. So it wasn't a lot of what do I have to fill in right here?
A good example of that, Vic. This is page 7 in this issue, and I described Chasgo in the middle, and then him reporting what he's seeing. And you can read the book to get more context to what this is. But I described the things he was seeing, and I wanted them in separate panels. But everything else, it looks like it's like broken glass or reconstructed reality, and all of that was on his own flair. And then, of course, with Dan adding to it, it just works. I'm just really happy. I gave loose descriptions there, and I really trusted in the talent and the imagination of the artists putting their thing on. Very seldom have I had to say, and mind you, Dan and Dave might have had to roll their eyes a couple times at me as I've like nitpicked a couple of very, very pointless details on 1 or 2 images. But aside from that,
Damn writers. Freaking writers, man.
I try really hard to not do that unless it's important, but important to me at least. But
Tan's like, I'm going to Canada. I'm going to knock this son of a... So, Vic, let me ask you, as being that this is your first, well, not exactly first, but, it's a new thing for you. This book is out there, sequentials. A lot of artists that are new to sequential, they actually prefer a tight script that really details everything and tells them everything to do. Do you think you flourished better that he was looser and gave you more freedom?
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of times when I get those tight scripts, a lot of times I'm having a fight with the way they're envisioning it, because I'm like, you know what, this, if you get this
Doesn't
angle,
work.
it'll be a little bit better,
Right.
or you're getting kind of the same shot for every panel. There's not a lot of same panel as before, same panel as before, same panel as before.
Right.
I can just copy and paste.
And Ray, being the prima donna that he is, he wasn't a pain in the ass with edits and stuff, or
The only edits like he gave me were mistakes on me, where I forgot to draw something, or I didn't notice,
like minor continuity stuff, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there was a
minor.
I'm going to say
Madcaps. Yes.
Madcaps. I didn't draw his hair on him. He has like these long locks, and I didn't even notice him. And he told me, "Hey, and you forgot his hair." And I was like, "Okay." And I had to just go back and fix that. But yeah,
Ray's got his posse after me now.
Yeah,
don't mess with the Kutchers. They'll come get you, man.
Very cool. Yeah, man. I mean, you can see the quality of the book, guys, from line work to sequential work to colors to lettering. It's just professional level, because that's what we do with Filbo Publishing. But anyway, I'll take all the credit. I didn't do shit, but I'll take all the credit. Filbo Publishing, baby. It's me. It's me. It's all me. It's not Vic. It's not the Kemps. It's me. There you go. Now that we've gotten that out of the way. No, seriously.
Phil, and I am your hero.
No, in all seriousness, Ray came to me. Being in Canada, it's a very difficult thing to be in the States on crowdfunding and stuff. There's a lot of logistics, things that get in the way. It's a problem. So he approached me about publishing the book, and at the time he had the script, and he sent me the script, and I liked it because I thought, you know what, I love D&D, but I loved that it was still honoring the genre with doing something a little fresh and different. So I liked it. Then he showed me the artwork, and I thought the artwork was solid. I was like, okay, this is good. And then he told me that Dan was on. I'm like, okay, then I know the colors are going to be amazing. But then going into book 2, when we knew we had to go to a new artist for reasons, he was looking at a couple artists, and he showed Vic. And what did I say to you right now? You got to go with Vic. Absolutely. Vic, you got to go with Vic. And you agreed, and I think it was a great choice. I think you did a great job. You all did amazing work on this. I'm so glad I get to take credit. And yeah, so in all seriousness, guys, you should really support indie, especially people that are putting in the professional effort and the passion and the care that Ray and this team have. You look at the names attached, you look at the trailer, you look at the quality. That's what you want out of a book. And yes, the writing is solid. It's there. The characters are relatable and enjoyable. And Vic just accentuates it well with his detailed panels and his action. And then, of course, the colors just, knock it out of the park. So if you don't back it, I'm going to find where you live and toilet paper your house. So you might as well just back it. For all of you who do back it, I just want to make it clear, because this often comes up as a question. If you back any tier that has choice, such as a t-shirt size or graphic or whatever, at the end of the campaign, when we send the survey out, it will ask you specifically what you want on those choices. So don't worry. Back with confidence. You'll get the survey at the end, and we will specify and tailor it to what you want out of that tier. All right, and that's where this disclaimer is here. So please just note that, so I don't get 50 messages asking me, hey, where do we put in the size? All right, we have a digital copy. If you have a wife or a husband that is tired of you cramming your house full of comics, you can throw it on a tablet right there. Digital copy. Boom. Take it on a train. We've got the digital catch-up, where you have issue 1 and 2 with a great cover by Jimbo Salgado and colors by Dan, of course. So you got the set with the Kenny Calderon cover, so awesome. We have a sketch cover. If you're an artist, you want to buy the sketch cover, read the story, then draw something on it and sell it and make a profit. Everybody wins. Or get an artist like Vic to do a tailored custom cover for you. For $15, you've got the Kenny Calderon. Sorry, someone just sent me a message. Anyway, the Jay Sloan, the Russ Leach, the Rod Rodolfo, and then we get, of course, the physical catch-up with the Kenny cover as the main cover and Jimbo Salgado as the main cover for issue 1. If you missed out on one, great opportunity to get the 2, catch up, enjoy it, and then just get ready and excited for 3. I'll let you start doing more of the talking now, Ray.
Sure.
Go through the tiers with us.
Okay, so as already mentioned, this specific cover here is metal foil. And I've never worked with metal foil before, and I wanted to make a cover that was metal foil worthy. Ironically, I had 2 covers that were suggested, but I didn't want to take away from the stained glass. That was my intention. So you can definitely look into this one. It is not everybody will be able to get it eventually, but roll for initiative. Say hi to Raphael there. Good to see you. Bryce already pointed out we're almost 30% funded. Underneath there, we have D&D with Michael Towson. The fees there, I actually lose money on this tier by $1. And all of the proceeds to this is to pay for Michael's services. This man is a pro. He pays by the player. So if you pay for that, it is no money in my pocket. It's for people that like to play D&D that don't get the chance. Buy in. It'll be a great time. I can guarantee you that. Underneath there, we have what we're calling the trio of covers. The metal foil cover is not included in this one, but any of those any 3 of the 4 you see there, you can get them all in this one package. Underneath, we have the enthusiast tier. You can get 1 physical copy, not including metal foil, and 1 t-shirt of choice. And there's some samples down there. There's 4 different images. We'll see that further down.
Dude, Jay and Dave's cover on that black shirt looked freaking awesome.
Oh, man. Like
so
some of these images, there's one from issue 1 with Harv Salterez, who did Ghost Riders, rather. We'll see that a little bit better as we further go down. Then there's quintet of covers, all 5 covers, including the metal foil, for anybody that just really loves all of the art. I get it if you have a hard time picking amongst. We have this tier so we can actually get it at a little bit more cost-effective price for the company.
And if you like grading books, you can grade the metal, you can grade any of these and still have a reader copy. So
yes,
if you're into grading books, this is a good tier.
Yes. Underneath that, we have the Fireside combo. You get 1 book of choice, not including metal foil, of course, and 1 blanket. We're calling it a plush tapestry because all of the images that we chose to make blankets, they would look really awesome hanging on your wall. But we call it Fireside for a reason. There's nothing like a blanket and a book, especially when you're up north here in what we call Winterpeg. But putting that aside, I think these are going to look really, really nice when they're done. I'm really looking forward to seeing those. Underneath that, we have the Ultimate Collector's tier. There's bookmarks, there's character sheets, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. We have a t-shirt option. We have the blanket. We got the pinup by Sean Langley. All 5 covers.
And a map.
And of course, my apologies, we have the map. The map is done by Storm Wickham. Dan Kemp covered that one. For issue number 1, it was a stretch goal, but now we're selling it so people can have a chance to get it again.
Excuse me, I did, Bryce. The size is in the text and the written tier. The size and what it's made out of are in there.
Right on. And also, that map is it was a stretch goal before. We wanted to make sure it was available this time around. And that map takes place where it's a drawing of where this story takes place. So you'll see Ivywood and its surrounding areas, plus a little bit. Some cities that aren't mentioned in this story as of yet. My goal right now is just to see how this first mini-series goes and then make a plan from there. But that map shows settlements outside of this story, which is also really, really cool. Underneath that, of course, we have add-ons, which include a digital copy, another That's drawn by Jimbo Salgado, who's done Batman Unhinged and various other titles. This is one of the first things I had any of the Brothers Kemp color for me. And that was, I mean, we spoke over phone. I love speaking to the Kemp brothers because we can talk about anything. We could talk about literally nothing for an hour and a half, and it's an engaging conversation. It can be the most intelligent. It could be the most intelligent conversation over the dumbest thing, and it's amazing, and I love it. But this was my first impressions of personal interaction with the Kemp brothers. So I've seen their portfolio, I've seen their stuff. I know what they can do, but for me to see this for the first time was definitely a step, the first step in a direction I was liking. So here we are, many images later, and I'm very grateful to have them and everybody else here on this project attached to it. Underneath is a better look at the map, which is an add-on for $8. I really like the subtle yet not quite subtle use of color on this. All the red labels anything of critical importance. The water is a specific label. The ink looks old. The paper looks old. I love it. Apologies, that was $9. I realized I said $8. Storm Wickham, she just freehand drew it. I gave her a rough idea of what I wanted to see, and she made this thing look like magic. Underneath this, we have a $10 color pinup poster. This is another example of where the artist, in this case Sean Langley, the attention, your eye is drawn to the middle of the image, and then Dan coloring it. Again, the color is focused on the middle, and then the rest is downplayed by choice to make the middle pop more, adding to the artist intention of drawing the eye to the center. You can see all four of them doing something really awesome. It doesn't matter if it's Madcaps there vomiting lightning out, or Sarlacc up front making one of those zombies look like one of the Canadians from South Park as the top half of his head comes off. It's just a beautiful piece of work there. We have for $15, we have a physical copy, Jimbo Salgado cover. For my apologies, I got a hiccup.
For $15, we have the Langley poster in the black and white version and the colored version.
So if you like black and white, a lot of people love that art style. I mean, I think it's best with both artists, but if you want to see what it looks like before Dan worked his magic on it, you can get both. And I mean, both are just beautiful pieces of art. Underneath that, this was
real quick. I'm sorry. I also like when people do this, because for those who aren't as knowledgeable, it's great to see what values color can add, and you can look at what values inking by itself adds, and then how colors, when you're with a true colorist, can enhance the rendering that the inks do, because inking has line weights and they also deal with light sourcing, obviously. And to watch how you can blend the two with the right talent. I always like to see the contrast and comparison. It's pretty cool.
Yes. So this one was the toughest one to decide. So the only reason this add-on exists is because everybody was saying Jay and Dave's art here should have been a metal foil cover. Like I was saying earlier, I didn't want to take away from the stained glass image. So as a compromise, we have this without the title, metal foil poster. So if you wanted to see both as metal foil, you have that option. It's really cool seeing this art without the titles as well, of course, but it's a statement, man. It's that image, just like the other ones, they're there to make an impression, and that's why I felt it was worthy of its own add-on metal foil poster, just like all the other covers, man.
What size is that poster, Ray?
Comic print size.
11 by 17. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. We got our eye on that poster.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
Well, don't they get comps?
Oh, they will. Don't you worry. You like that? Yeah. Hey, I'm more than happy to get you guys. We're also going to have.
See, I'm trying to help you guys. See that? I'm in your corner, guys. I'm trying to help you.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Don't worry.
Hey, Ray.
Yes.
I haven't seen the Javier Saltares cover.
We're gonna see that just below there. It's coming up. Don't you worry.
Okay,
It's
and give
coming
him
up.
the small story on that. Okay.
I will. Don't you worry. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. You're almost as excited about some of these images as me. So, anyways, the bookmark set there, for $25. Bookmarks are always a nice add-on. People enjoy the art. Anybody that reads books nowadays, a bookmark is just a very underrated thing to have. So I wanted to have some of this imagery that me and others have appreciated. Underneath that, we're close to the Harvey Saltares picture, not yet. We have character sheets of all 4 characters. If anybody who likes playing out as different characters in one-shots, these are level 5 characters. It's based off of 5e D&D. Each one of them, I try to narrowly fit them into classes that exist in D&D. For example, Dun and Eni is the equivalent of an artificer. Chazgo is the equivalent of a warlock, and then the other 2, they're actually multi-class. So Madcaps is an Eldritch Knight wizard combination. He's a wizard to be, if you will. And then for Sarlacc, Swamp Trudger, the dwarf, he's a multi-class between ranger and cleric. He's a wild holy man of the woods, if you will, wielding an axe and killing monsters, which is pretty awesome. So underneath that, we have the t-shirt option. These images are just samples. They're not necessarily these colors, but you can get any one of those 4 images on a shirt size that you pick out, on a color. As Dan was pointing out, the top right one you can't see too well. You'll have to open up Kickstarter, go to this page and zoom in. But that's Harv Saltares. He did a variant cover for me for issue 1. Harv Saltares, he's had a passive influence on my childhood. Ghost Rider Volume 2 was one of the first comics I try to get back issues on and try to get like monthly. He did the first year of that run, so Blackout and a couple. He had like the Kingpin is in there. I feel he draws Kingpin the best, and I had between Dan and Harv Saltares, if you really think about this, Dan, who's colored Spawn, and Harv Saltares, who's colored a Marvel equivalent of a Hellspawn, combined their forces to make this really, really cool cover. When Harv originally showed me a rough sketch of what he wanted to do, it was the exact opposite of what I was asking for, and I just loved it. I was just like, shut up and take my money. And then when Dan threw his colors on it and I talked to Harv over the phone, he's just like, wow, that turned out really good. He was very, very happy. These 2 gentlemen have never combined efforts before, and they've been in the game for literally decades. So I was very happy to facilitate that experience for the 2 of them. And for these guys to like make something like that I was like part of as a kid, something that was in my mind that didn't exist, and for them to bring that to existence. And I've said this before, but it's the equivalent of having like an Elvis Presley or Kurt Cobain perform a song that you've written. And then the other images that I've already talked about, but depending on the color combination, as I think Dan and Dave were saying, they really like the J Dave combo on black, for example. And I really like Madcaps there in the red. I think each one of these was worthy of a t-shirt, and that's why I picked out these 4 specifically.
Very cool.
We have on here the blanket/tapestry option. We have these 4 options here. We've got the Sean Langley image. We also have the metal foil image, and then the other 2 images are from issue 1. They're variant covers. The one on the right was done, actually, the one on the left and the one on the right, they're done both by Jenna Stark. They're different styles. One of Dun and Eni, first time he uses that telescope and he took out that tree in front of him. He's actually removing his goggles in disbelief that it actually worked and he's not dead. And then Madcaps in the middle with that red cape, that was hand painted by John Zalesnik. John Zalesnik, he painted Warhammer 40K, Magic the Gathering, the original Shinobi cartridge art for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the list goes on and on. Like there's some, I really felt these would look like tapestries when you hung them up. And that's why those 4 were chosen accordingly. Then we have stretch goals. The first and the last are the only ones I'm going to reveal right now. The first one is the funding goal, which we are apparently almost at 30% for. I'm just looking now, reloading my screen. We've jumped. We're over 40% funded now. So when we hit $500, we'll hit our funding goal. The last one, if we get to that magic number, we will have one of the issue 3 covers in black and white, which is already completed by Rod Ramos Rodolfo. It will be at the back of issue number 2. So just kind of a preview. Like I said, this is only 3 issues, so it'll be kind of a little bit of wet your whistle to see what you're getting yourself into for number 3. There's all the build up. Number 3 is going to be huge, and it's just really cool getting into this issue 2 and getting this story going. It's going to be really awesome. So I'm really looking forward. If we get up that high, I will be adding that in, and it's going to be awesome.
And his 15 illegitimate kids will appreciate you.
That's right. Yeah, all 15 kids.
Whoa, where did the entire team disappeared? That is so weird. Remember you had that problem, right?
Yeah, I had that problem earlier. For some reason, it's not. We can fix that later.
I put the entire team on there, right? The creative team. And on my end, it was showing. And on Ray's end, it wasn't showing as a collaborator. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's right. I even sent him pictures showing him it's there. Strange. And all of a sudden, it's not there.
We can fix that later, though.
Kickstarter, what the hell?
That's an easy fix. But anyways, Victor, as it's shown down here, Victor Medina doing interiors. We have Dan Kemp doing interior colors, but let's not forget Dave as well.
I don't understand that. It doesn't even have. It had creative team. It had team as the title there too. Where'd it go?
Mike,
dude, I showed you a screenshot of it.
I'm witness.
Where the hell did it go?
You know what?
Also,
I'm just.
It also says Victor is a seasoned comic book artist. Yeah, I'm not. You're gonna have to correct that too.
Well. Your skills would convince me of otherwise if I just.
That's the graphics I got from Guido Martinez.
But they
yeah. So where are we?
The only things missing were the graphics. Were those 3 pieces? I'm content. It's not like we're missing huge parts. Either way,
I don't get it. They were on there though.
I agree. I did see it. I know that was an issue before, but at least we can slip that in at once this stream is done. But Victor on interiors, we've got the Brothers Kemp on colors. We've got Micah Myers on lettering. And we have myself as the writer. And we've got various art and skill on the covers, such as Kenny Calderon on the main cover here. We've got Rod Ramos Rodolfo. We've got Jay Sloan, Jenna Stark, and...
don't go in order. Make me go all over the place.
You know what? I wasn't even thinking that. I was just rhyming them off. But maybe go to the top. I'll say them real quick here.
There you go.
Follow the bouncing ball wherever it's not orderly going.
Yeah.
So yes, we have Kenny Calderon and Dan Kemp. This is the main cover. It's a statement. It's beautiful. We've got Jay Sloan, the next one, colored by Dave Kemp. That's one of the variants. Another variant, Russ Leach, colored by Dave Kemp as well. And then underneath that, we have Rod Ramos Rodolfo, colored by Dan Kemp. And then we have line art by Jenna Stark and colored by Dave Kemp. That one will be metal foil. And then, of course...
Go ahead. Dave and Dan, how many times did your mother screw up your names and call each one the other person?
You already know the answer.
No, it's D&D.
There you go.
There it is. Right. Full circle.
There you go.
Should we
so which one was the good son and which one was known as the good son?
Oh, Dave's the good son.
So when something went wrong,
Dave's the good son. Yeah.
So if
Dave's the good son.
You call him Dan out of nowhere.
No, the thing is, it's like it's more like it's like the Omen in our family. I'll always come across as good, but I'm definitely the bad son.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
The third D would be Damien. Is there a brother that lives in the attic by
Yeah,
chance?
he's in the closet. Yeah, he only comes out at night.
It's true.
And then, of course, we have the interiors here. Victor Medina has been working some magic, and Dan Kemp has
Yep.
been applying more magic, and then Micah Myers is putting the letters on. And these guys, their skill, and these results, just like everybody else here, it speaks for itself. You're getting some stuff I feel is worthy of the industry, and I tried to find talent that was just like something that would be statements that people would appreciate. And then on top of that, hopefully my story holds up too.
You know, it's
Yep.
funny. I look at this person's face in the background, Vic, and I see a Capullo influence.
Oh yeah, he's one of my guys.
Yeah,
so.
you know what? Yeah, I'd say a lot of Todd also. So
Yeah,
there's
I could see
definitely
some
like
Todd in there too.
that's what I was feeling, because you have to realize when Todd used to ink Spawn, right? And so Todd would take over the page. And it's like, and Todd always considered inking like a finishing art form. He didn't consider it just the inker. So
Right.
and a small story from what I know, when Todd was working at Marvel, Todd would get the run of the covers. So anything that would come in, Todd would review and potentially ink. And if he inked it, he would redraw a ton of attributes. And so
Oh,
what
really?
would so that's just, yeah. So I mean, definitely, it's like if you take a look at panel 3 on page 2 that we're looking at, take a look at the face that he does on
Right.
Madrakis. Really, I mean, I was going, oh, a lot of Todd influence right here. This is really good, because and you know, so that it's definitely like, you know, I mean, here's the interesting thing. Go back and look at Spawn issues 20 and 21, and then before, and you're going to see Capullo doing his stuff before Todd really got his hands on it. And then it's really a fascinating thing at that point. So, so as
And I
I
mean
say,
that as a
Todd,
compliment, Vic. I don't mean that anything more than you took your own style, but we can see that your influences and passions are there. So I meant it absolutely as a compliment. I mean, you're your own artist,
I'll
and
take it as a compliment.
yeah, great
okay,
work.
yeah, hopefully, yeah. We got to, well, it started raining here, guys, so we might lose some signal. But
Well, we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes anyway. I'm going to do a round robin.
Okay.
I want you guys to take a few minutes. We'll start with Kenny, because we've kind of kept him quiet for a while. Tell us a little about yourself real quick, where we can find you, what you're up to, what you're available for.
Well, I think you got a bio for me up there, no?
Again, what for some reason Kickstarter decided to say, nah, we don't need those. So we'll figure that out. They were up there on the page and they're gone. I don't know why.
Okay. So just really quick, primarily an indie guy. I do tons of books and covers for different people. Been in the game for close to 20 years. Currently under contract with Upper Deck, Tops. I've done some stuff for Dynamite. I did some Star Wars stuff recently, which has been fun. You know, a staple with Filbo and anyone associated with Filbo. Currently, I'm on 2 books right now, so I can't take on sequentials, but I can do some cover work. I can do everything from pencils to color, and some trade dressing. Yeah, commissions are always open. You know, I just can't take on big projects. And wild_inks_Ken is my Instagram handle, so you can find me there.
Awesome. Dude, beautiful work on the main cover. I know what you can do.
Yes.
Kenny's a great talent. You should check him out. There's a lot of indie people out there that maybe haven't gotten that spotlight yet that you're missing out on, and you got a couple of them here. And you start paying attention because hindsight sucks. And if we knew what we knew, if we knew back then what we knew now about some of the artists that are big time and their art's going for a ton of money, you kick yourself in the ass that you didn't support back then. So support now, because, don't jump on the bandwagon. Be the bandwagon. Start them up. Get them going. Move them out there. Support them. Get them known. All right. Otherwise, I toilet paper your house, like I said. So, Kenny, man, I appreciate you always. The things you do for Philbo, for me, what you're doing for Ray, and we look forward to seeing more things to come.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Kenny. Thank you very much.
Vic, you're up.
Hey, I'm Victor Medina, comic book artist. This is my first sequential work, so please pick it up. I've had a really good time working on this book. The book is super fun. I've said this before with Ray. It's nothing like I've read or seen out there. You can't compare it to other books because the characters are very original. So pick it up. It's going to be a fun ride, and I know everybody's going to like it. If you want to follow me or message me, I'm Art of Victor Medina on most of the socials, or just Vic Medina on Facebook.
Also, just want to say Kenny has a Monday night show live on social media, and Vic has a show as well. Follow their page to find out when those shows are on, or if you want to shout them out now, and people can come watch.
Oh yeah. So mine is called the Lead Poison live stream. I do it every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Awesome. And Vic?
Mine is on Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. It's called I Need to Art. I teach everything from how to draw to how to color. Not as good as those guys over there. But yeah, everything on there. And I'm on every other week. And I have special guests, Coy Turnbull and Nate Farino, coming on in the next 2 weeks. So it's going to be a good time.
Cool. And you get to see both every week because they don't clash. So there you go.
Beautiful.
All right. The Wonder Twins. Tell us, like we don't already know, but where can people find you? What are you up to? Anything you want to promote? Please go ahead.
Go for it. No. Oh God. Probably find us on Facebook. That's kind of where we do most stuff.
Yeah, that's where we interact for sure. So I mean,
Dave Kemp, Dan Kemp, whatever. You'll find us if you want to.
or Kemp Studios. Yeah, you'll find us. So we're on there. We post a lot of portfolio stuff and comment. We'll chat with you. And definitely we're available for work. So get in touch with us if you want to. We work the indie scene, and so cool stuff per usual. There's always something cool occurring, and I think that's it, Dave. If you want to.
No, you said it. So
yeah, not too much more than that. But we're on Facebook, so look us up, Dan Kemp or Dave Kemp, and say hello and send us a friend request.
And I have to say, for two guys have really worked at the top level of the industry, they're really down to earth guys, really cool, and they are willing to work with indie people, so don't be intimidated to reach out to them just because of what they've accomplished on their resumes. They're really approachable guys, as you can see, and they're only going to make your book better. So reach out to them, and again, and you see how they work. Kenny and Vic work in combination with them. You've got a superstar team right here. So reach out to these guys and support them and help them make your book even better. That's what I would say.
Thanks, Phil.
Everybody, I want to remind everybody, in all seriousness, we love Marvel and DC. We love IDW. We love Dark Horse. Buy those books. Enjoy them. We need comics to thrive. We need reading to happen. But don't forget us little guys in the indie corner, because you might just find that gem that you've been waiting for, that you're excited for the next campaign. you might just find that book that, resonates with you in a way that you haven't in a while. Right now, corporations are kind of playing it safe. Indie is not. It's a passion play. Ray, Filbo Publishing, Kenny, Vic, we are not beholden to shareholders or stock or public opinion. We love this medium, we love storytelling, and we want to give you something fresh and new from our perspective. And I do understand that sometimes indie maybe falls short in quality, but there are books like this one that are hiring these professionals. The quality is there. So it may not have that brand of a big name behind the creator, but if you truly just care about good stories, great characters, and a world you can submerge yourself in, who gives a shit about a brand? Get the frickin' book. It's a solid book.
One of the biggest advantages for my book in specific, being indie, is number one, you don't need to know like 60 years worth of lore to understand what's going on. It's a 3-issue miniseries. There's nothing before. And then on top of all of that, there's no filler issues. Sometimes when you're a bigger group that has a bunch of intersecting monthly issues, they have to line up at certain times. Sometimes you got to stretch a story out. Mine is the exact opposite. It was originally intended as 2 issues. I stretched it out to 3, only because all of the cool stuff and the relevant information, I couldn't fit it all in to the sizes that I wanted for 2 issues. It had to become 3. Larger companies, and like Phil said, all the power to them. Sometimes you run into dynamics like that. My book does not have said dynamic.
Writing for the sake of storytelling is so vital. But again, without you buying it and reading it and supporting it, it doesn't thrive. People don't survive. And when you buy this book, you're supporting the entire team. They're getting hired. They continually get hired. So just remember that, please. Because we don't make money off these books. We do it because we love it. Period. So, and again, raise 15 kids. So just come on, help out. And I really don't have the energy to toilet paper everybody's house. I got to go do a lot of driving.
And 27 and a half grandchildren.
There you go.
Yes.
Before we go today, and you're all welcome to stay while I talk about this. If you'd like, if you have to go, I understand. Ray and Kenny, I kind of, are part of this. Long story short, as you know, April 9th is the 1-year anniversary of my father's passing. I'm not going to get into the details of our tumultuous relationship most of our life, that actually we formed a close relationship 3 years ago. My father was 160. He was bench pressing 165 pounds a day at 77 years old. He was a very scary man with PTSD from the war, and he was a man that was arrested for road rage at 75. So this was a man that was no joke. I wrote a book that I didn't realize I was writing, a graphic novel, 110 pages. I didn't realize I was writing about him and I. As I got to know my father in the last 3 years of his life, and I think all of us being men and some of us being fathers, we understand this. Men suffer in silence a lot. We just do what we got to do. And that's not knocking women at all. Mothers are up there, create life. They're wonderful. But speaking on fathers, sometimes as sons, sometimes as daughters, we don't see the pain going on inside. We don't see the sacrifices being made. We don't understand. We just see what we see from our perspective. And as we get older, and sometimes if that father is willing to let you in, you start to understand that not everything is just how you saw it. There's this other thing going on. And I learned that about my father. So I wrote Papa, which is a great Silver Age hero tale. And don't get me wrong, it's a comic book, so it's not a melodrama about family. It's got action, it's got fun, it's exciting. But at the core root of it is the sacrifice men, fathers, make for their families that go unnoticed, that we don't understand until sometimes it's too late. And my father was not a comic book collector. He thought they were silly, but he was reading my scripts and he enjoyed them, and he read Papa and he loved it. And he said, is there any way you could get it into print before I go? and I wanted to, and I tried, but I couldn't. There was too much money. It's $15,000 for a graphic novel, so it's really hard to get that money unless I put tits on it, and I wasn't an old man with tits isn't exactly attractive. So, so unfortunately, he passed. 5 weeks it took him out. It was very quick, which is really what he never wanted to be a burden. He never wanted to show weakness. This was a man 2 days before he died was in ICU, and I saw him, and he was sitting up and he was talking with oxygen, but he seemed fine. And I went to my stepmother. I'm like, he doesn't look like he's about to go. And she goes, he doesn't want you to see him weak. After we left, he was out. He was collapsed. He was exhausted. He was that fucking tough. I mean, they don't make men like this anymore. I'm just telling you now. And he passed, and I didn't get the book out. So now I'm releasing the chapters as single issues one at a time, just so I can get this book out in his honor. I'm not using this as a gimmick or an excuse. I'm not trying to pull on your heartstrings to get you to buy the book. You buy it if you're interested. If you don't, fair enough. But this book is the most important thing I'll have ever published. It means the world to me and my family, and it would have meant a lot to my dad. So if you have it in you to come out next Wednesday on April 9th and back this book, or at least share it out, I will be eternally grateful to you, because it's more to me than just a book, and I don't give a shit about money. I just want to be able to make it. All right. Now, Kenny has one or two covers on it. You have two covers, and Kenny did the graphic that is the banner for it. Ray has reviewed it, and he enjoyed the script. And if you could just share what you thought. And I just want to say, the indie community has some people that sometimes you just want to slap the shit out of them, because they're just wrong. Okay. And we forget that there are some great people in this community. And there are some people that have rallied around me with this book, such as Kenny, such as Ray, just reviewing it and putting it out there. The letterer, George Medina, is refusing to take money for the book. I keep fighting with him. I'm going to find a way to send something to him, but he's yelling at me. So I just want you all to remember, as rough as things get, as tough as it can be, there are good people in this industry, and you've got to nurture them. You've got to support them, and you've got to let them know that what they're doing is meaningful and matters. Whether it's my book or what Vic's doing or what Ray's doing, you're making a big difference in creators' lives, because when you get that story in your head and it's just clawing at you, it wants to get out there.
Yep.
We want it out there. We just want it out there. It's not about the money.
System.
Yeah, it's not about the money. And then when you see like the guys that are here with us, I'm a writer, Ray's a writer. We know what the characters look like in our head. We got it all in our head, but you can't read my mind. If it's not for them, it's always just here. It's because of them. It's out in the world.
Yep.
So I am so grateful to you guys and all that you do, because you make dreams tangible. You make them real.
Yeah.
You make them that image that is burned in a head, that when I see the Spawn logo or I see Spawn's fiery eyes, I know what the hell I'm looking at. I know what that is, because you pulled it out of our heads and you put it on that paper, and you did it with blood, sweat, and tears, a bad back, a bad neck, not having a social life, 12 hours in a studio. You sacrifice for your passion so that our passion is out there. And if you pledge on these books, you're not wasting your money like you are on cigarettes or a Starbucks cup of coffee with your name spelled wrong. You're making dreams tangible. You're building worlds. You're helping passion become reality. And as much as it sounds corny, I fucking mean this. Support these campaigns. It doesn't have to be Pop. It doesn't have to be Filbo. Just support. Sacrifice 1 week, $15 a week or a month. Sacrifice one vice and buy that book, because you may just love it. And if you don't, you got toilet paper for a week. Just don't get it wet, or the character is going to be imprinted on your ass.
That's right.
And that's my speech. Papa, next Wednesday, April 9th. But in the meantime, right now, on Kickstarter, the Madcaps 2 with a phenomenal talented team that's here with me right now.
Over 50% funded.
And I want everybody to remember, don't think if he hits 500, he's in the money. No, printing is expensive. Kickstarter takes 11%. Ray is doing this knowing that he's going to have to foot that bill ahead of time. So don't stop at 5. Get to 1,000, get to 2,000, get to 3,000, because then the money just gets invested back into the next book. It doesn't buy him a meal. It doesn't buy him a Disney trip. It gets Madcaps 3. So please support. We appreciate you. Share out if it's not your thing. Tell a family member, whatever you got to do. And just please, I don't feel like driving your house to toilet paper it. I don't have time.
Phil, I'd like to add a little bit to Papa, if that's okay.
Sure. Thank you.
One thing Phil and I have in common, our dads died on the same day of not the same year, but they died on the same day of the year.
That's
just
crazy.
Coincidentally. My dad died on the night of the 9th or the morning of the 10th, somewhere in his sleep. But 3 years ago now, this coming anniversary. And thanks, Bryce. Bryce actually just lost a family member. He was just telling me. So shout out to Bryce. It's not fun losing family. The very first issue, like I review indie comics, and the very first thing I reviewed was actually Tragedy, all 5 of the first issues. And one of the things I say in there, at the time when I reviewed it, I just lost my dad. And at the beginning of the story, the main character, there's some panels where it's the expression of solitude and you're just thinking of your thoughts, and it's very clear she's thinking of loss. And just losing my father, I could really relate to that. And this time around, with Phil losing his dad, I really get it. Getting this out of your system. Sometimes parents like appoint things on you, and sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's not. But Phil showing this to his father, I really understand, although the father never necessarily said this, Phil has internalized, I need to get this out of my system. And this is an honor bound thing. I've read the story, so this isn't like some fluff piece. This is, Phil said some nice things about the Madcaps, about it being unique in story, and Vic as well. But when you Papa is, I don't know how else to put it, because there's lots of spoilers I don't want to talk about. But if anybody's ever seen the movie with the guy who played Better Call, Gran Torino's a good one, but I was thinking more of Bob Odenkirk from Better Call Saul. He was in that movie called Nobody.
Yeah, I love that movie.
So those 2 movies there, Nobody and Gran Torino, it's an old guy versus the mafia or a gang, and
there's a twist. You won't see it coming.
Yeah, you won't see this twist coming. So I can't say the twist part, but one thing I will say is, as already reflected on, there's things that adults do for their kids and grandkids, and it usually goes unsung, but it's something that has to get done. And this story definitely resonates with that, as Phil was talking about how sometimes dads suffer in silence. I'm a dad. I'm not a mom. I can't speak for mothers, but there's times I will definitely take a hit here because my kids need it, and I will do it with a grin on my face because that's what needs to get done. And this story is teeming with that theme. I could tell you right now with conviction, this is not some B-grade wannabe story. This is its own thing, and it is definitely worth your money when it comes out. So just keep your eyes out on that. Anybody that's supported my book so far, over 50% funded already, and I'm flattered, and I really appreciate it. I promise you that this book is in turn also worth the money that you put into it. And by the time you get number 3, I've said this on other podcasts, just like they say in volleyball, bump, set, and spike. By the time we get to number 3, it spikes, and it spikes hard. This second issue that we're just launching now, it's a setup, but it's also got really cool stuff. Vic Medina hinted at a horse chase. Hi, Greg. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But all in all, as Phil was saying with these stories, they're from the heart. There's no fillers. There's no fluff pieces to meet a quota of issues or have a certain timing. It is just what it is, and what that is awesome.
I'm going to throw this out here right now. Anybody who backs the Madcaps and the Papa campaign will get 2 free PDF issues of anything they want from my personal written catalog. I can't speak for like Guido Martinez and stuff. I will give you 2 free issues of choice from Tragedy, Dynamics, Withered, Arcane Syndicate, or my horror stories. You'll get 2 of choice if you back both.
I've read all of Arcane Syndicate. That's a story for another time. But if you get access to that first issue, that's another one. You're getting your money's worth. In this case, free. So that much more. So
back both campaigns, and I promise you, you will get both those PDFs, 2 of choice, whatever you want from my catalog.
It's pretty awesome, man. That's really nice of you, Phil.
No, I believe in what you're doing, man. And you're all a bunch of great guys. And I know I talk a lot, but we got to sell ourselves. No one's doing it for us.
This is true.
I just want to say thanks to all of you for coming out. Thank you for those who so far who have backed the campaign, and we appreciate you. We really do, every one of you. And thanks for who stuck around and listened. We appreciate you. Support, follow, share, like, comment. It all helps. It all helps.
Secret stretch goals to be revealed in the not too distant future. So stay tuned.
And if it's not a book you're interested in, there is a donation area. You could donate $1, $5, $1 million, whatever you want to do. You can donate.
Totally up for $1 million. I'm in.
If 1,000 people donated $1, there you go.
As long as it's not monopoly money, so be it. Even the funky Canadian money, well, we'll take that.
When did Ben Franklin have the monocle? I don't remember that. All right. Guys, thanks for sticking around and listening to my long-winded speeches. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you on social media.
Have a good one, everyone.
Ciao. All right, guys. So that is the show. We appreciate you sticking around. Madcaps #2 is live right now. Again, there's a catch-up. You can get issues 1 and 2. You're not going to be disappointed. If you enjoy D&D fantasy, if you enjoy just action, superhero, bombastic characters, it's all there. If you enjoy buddy movies, this has got that aspect too. It's got 4 friends, diverse personalities, all meeting up and getting together again after a long departure from each other and picking up like there was no loss there. And then getting thrown right into the middle of a mystery, which becomes unraveled into this big chaotic mess of action, adventure, and danger, without losing that D&D fantasy genre that we love so much. And you don't see a lot of D&D comics, especially ones written well, but you do here. So come on out and pledge and back it so Ray can pay that child support. All right. I'm going to leave you with what I always leave you with. Be legendary and have fun storming the castle.